Okay, this video we're going to talk about seller financing on real estate. Seller financing, owner carry, seller carryback, all of those terms mean the same. Basically, seller is going to take and receive a down payment and carry the balance, and you're going to make payments. As a buyer, you're going to make payments to the seller. This can hold true for bare land, residential, or commercial. Typically, we see it done on bare land. In this example, we're just going to use bare land because the reason a lot of times sellers will carry on bare land is because a buyer can't get a loan on a bare land part, may not be able to get a loan on bare land parcel without the infrastructure, water, septic or sewer, and power, or a combination thereof. So it's a good tool to have. On the seller side, they may indicate that they're going to be willing to carry, and they'll look at it. And they may indicate only one thing. That's how much they want down. So many times buyers say, well, what does the seller want for terms? That is such a wide open question. Some sellers will say exactly what they want. Majority of them, they say what they want for a down payment because they don't know till they see it. They don't know what a buyer is going to offer. They don't know what a buyer is going to bring down. They don't know what a buyer is going to put for a time frame to pay it off. All those things tie in. So in this example, again, we're going to say that the seller has stated they want 20% down. Then they have stated nothing else about that. Maybe they said, I want to pay off in 5 years. Okay? So you got a couple things to go on there. For you as a buyer, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sit down. You already know you got to bring down your 20%. Figure out what your purchase price is going to be, you know, as you're generating your offer paperwork. Within there, then figure out what is a good payment for you. What makes sense to you, and what you're going to want to do is you pick the interest rate. Don't get crazy. Just be realistic and do what you think is fair. If the seller doesn't like it, they can counter. But a lot of times the seller's not going to want to tell what they want for interest rate because, again, they don't know the other parts of the terms. So in this example, let's just say you're going to offer it at 5% interest, okay? Figure what that 5% interest is based on, go out, start playing with amortization and see where that ties in to the payment that you are comfortable making, all right? So if you are going to make a payment of $300 and you go out X amount of years and it's only at $250, you bring that in a little bit. If it's at, depending on the balance, if the payment's at $400, take it back out a little bit. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to get it right at your mark, but you just play with the amortization and see where that ends up. Do not get amortization and payoff mixed up. Two totally different things. I mentioned before that we're going to say in this example, the seller said they wanted to be paid off in 5 years. You're going to be making those payments and you're going to be going along and the 5-year time is going to be coming up. That's when you need to pay off the balance. All right? That could be done with refinancing. Maybe you're going to roll it in a construction loan once you get some of the infrastructure put in. Whatever the case may be, you're not trying to squeeze all your payments in that 5 years. You've already amortized it out. We're going to say example 10. You've already amortized it out for that. That's what your payments are based off of. However, come that 5-year mark, you need to pay it off. Make sure that when you're writing out this contract, your offer, that you put in there no prepayment penalty. Everything can change. Anything can change, right? You might save a little more money. You might be putting money away. You might be making more on the payments. Whatever the case may be, you don't want to be penalized if you can pay it off in 3 years. Save yourself some interest. Make sure that's in there. You're also going to be saying how you want it done, whether it's a note and trust deed or whether it's a land sales contract. You're also going to be putting in there a collection agency account. These are all optional things. I'm telling you what I feel is advisable. So within the offer, these things are all going to be spelled out. The note and trust deed is by far, in my opinion, the best way to go. When you do a note and trust deed, in Oregon we use title companies, other states use closing companies, whatever it may be. Title company here in Oregon makes and draws out, prepares the note and trust deed, all the seller document, promissory note, everything, right? So they prepare it, both parties get to see it, make sure it matches the terms, and then that's part of the closing paperwork. When I said you want to identify an escrow holding account, different title companies or closing companies have suggestions, and closing and escrow accounts they use, collection accounts they use. That's who your payments are going to be made to. Out of that, then they get released to the seller. Okay? So there's no tracking a seller down, seller's not tracking a buyer down. It's all documented. You have it for tax purposes. You have it for record keeping. It's very cut and dry who paid what when and who paid the seller when they got paid. So no guesswork, right? The other thing about the note and trust deed is at the closing table, you're signing all the documents. The seller's also going to be signing at that time the deed. It's held in the escrow account. So when you pay off that loan, that deed gets released to you. You are the owner of that property, even though you have a loan on it, because the seller's the finance person. You still own that property, meaning you can go ahead and get your well done, your septic, get your power on there. You can do things to the property. It's your property. With a land sales contract, you don't have as much vested interest, depending on how it's written. They really concern me because 9 times out of 10, the land sales contract, even though it's a recorded document, it can be missed if there tends to be a problem with the seller, meaning they get into some kind of collection situation, or unfortunately, maybe they pass away. There's no real good way to protect a buyer. This is in my opinion. Other people may feel different. The note and trust deed is very basic. They've already signed the deed. It's sitting there. They can move out of the country. If unfortunately they do pass away, it doesn't matter. You are still making your payments just like you normally would. That's not for you to decide to stop making payments if you find out the seller passed away. You just make them as you've always made them. Once it's paid off, the deed's yours. Okay? So those in a nutshell are the basics of a seller financing situation. It's very common for buyers not to know anything about it, or even that it's an option. It's also very common for sellers to not know how it works. All right? So don't be afraid to do it. It's very common, especially on bare land. It can be safe for both parties as long as it's done correctly. But it is a tool to use to get yourself in to bare land, especially if you want to build a house on it, roll it into a construction loan. It just gives you a heads up in getting these things done. So if you have any questions, put them down below. I'll answer as best I can. If I don't know the answer, trust me, I'll tell you I don't know the answer, but I'm sure I can get you the answer. Feel free to subscribe. That would be great. But again, I appreciate you listening, and take care.